joke about it. That was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, around this time, people were beating each other up to get toilet paper out of the store, and no one talks about it now. It was a whole the world is ending, and no one talks about it now. Why? Because when you have all the money in the world, you get to control the shots, and money is no longer the goal. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Find Your Formula Reacts. Now today we got something a little bit different here. We're not reacting to whole math. We're not doing a music video. We got another video here from a guy named JMWhelan or JMWhelan. I hope I don't, maybe I butchered it. I don't know. But the video is titled, I started investing at 40 and immediately realized how bad I messed up. Now, the reason why I want to get into this is I'm not 40, but I do think that he talks about some important things. I started watching a little bit of this video here, and I was like, you know what? This is the type of content that I think is actually not only entertaining, but is actually very helpful to a lot of young men out there and a lot of men who may be 40 or even older, to talk about why it's important to invest and why maybe he didn't start investing so late in life. And maybe you could watch some of these things, learn from them, take his failures and add the lessons that he learned from his failures to your own life to then get you success. And that's why we here on YouTube University is to help other people get the goals as we get goals for ourselves. So without any further ado, let's get into the video.
Of all the stupid things I've done in my life, not investing is up at the top of the list. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest mistakes in my entire life, actually. And it's no fault of our own, because the way society's set up, I literally think it's like this on purpose. I mean, I went to school, I went to high school, I had trade school and stuff like that in school, and not once did anybody talk to me about investing. Not once did anybody talk to me about how to manage money, how to save money. And then I got out of high school and I went to college. I ended up going to a tech school. And, again, that's kind of niche because it's a tech school and not technically a college, but no financial education whatsoever in that school. I walked out of there with an associate's degree. Several years later, I went back to college. I got a bachelor's degree from a university, and not a single class talked about anything financial. And maybe there was electives or something like that I wasn't aware of, but who knows? Because nobody ever told me, like, hey, you need to take financial education. You need to be smart about money. Nobody ever told me this stuff.
Well, the reason why that is, first of all, he did a good thing by actually going to a tech school and getting a trade. A lot of young men need to do that now, especially with how liberal and white collar work is. It has like this social underlying of like passive aggressiveness that a lot of men don't tend to do well in. And that's why you have a lot of us going to HR getting cooked. I know even with my job, there's certain jokes that I don't say around people because I'm like, I don't know you well enough to know how you're going to portray this. And the job that I do is mainly male dominated. It's like 98% men, but still, there's still some of them that they thrive in that kind of cattiness environment. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to kind of stay away from you. But the reason why they don't teach you financial literacy is because they don't want entrepreneurs and bosses. Funny enough, we live in a country, if you live in the United States, where the government really doesn't support the people as much as it used to. And you can make different claims and cases for that. But they do support corporations, funny enough. And they don't want every single person to turn into a brand or a corporation because they would run out of money. So we need the workers. We need the worker bees. We need people to flip the patties. And that's why they don't want you to know and understand and learn the game of money. I've only learned the game of money through YouTube University and making more mistakes than I can count. Thankfully, none of those mistakes are huge, like getting into college debt or having a kid. Good Lord, right? It's always been, oh, this credit card, I bought something on that I can't afford. Now I have to pay interest, right? Something that'll take me 2 months, maybe 3 months to fix. And then I get right back to square one and actually start investing. So that's kind of the situation I'm in now. But I had to learn, like, the reason why they don't teach you this stuff is because, like, rich people don't want you to know what they know because then you become one of them. And now they can't control you. When you have all the money in the world, money is no longer your pursuit. Your pursuit is control. And we know that based on the events that happened in 2020. No one talks about that anymore, though. You see that, right? How that kind of just got lost into history. And we laugh and we joke about it. That was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, around this time, people were beating each other up to get toilet paper out of the store. And no one talks about it now. It was a whole the world is ending. And no one talks about it now. Why? Because when you have all the money in the world, you get to control the shots, and money is no longer the goal. I have it all. I have all the money. What's next? Oh, control people who don't? That sounds like fun. Sure, let's do that. But yeah, that's why they don't want you to know, so they can control you.
The reason I learned all the stuff I learned about money is just because I'm a tightwad. I came from nothing. I came from a place of not having money. I was never handed anything throughout my entire life. Everything I ever wanted, I had to bust my butt and I had to work for.
Mm.
So when
Well,
I got money, I held on to it. And those are the values I carried with me throughout my entire life. And that's what's got me to where I'm at today. So I never had somebody looking over my shoulder telling me, hey, you need to invest. My parents never told me that.
yeah.
You know, they were blue collar workers, probably like most people's parents.
Mhm.
And they basically just relied on the system and assumed that they were going to work their entire lives until they were old enough to get on Social Security and retire out, you know, with their actual retirement. I don't know that my parents invested at all. And as a matter of fact, I don't think they did. I think, like most people, they just relied on the system. But you know, the younger generation, people like us and people younger than us, I'm 40 years old, Social Security may not even be there for us. So
Mhm.
you have to invest and you have to be financially literate if you want to be able to actually retire from the workforce. And for most people, you're going to want to retire from the workforce because you don't want to work your entire life.
Mm.
A lot of us think we're working so that we can buy all this stuff and we can acquire all these things that are going to make us happy. But the real reason we're working is so that we can get out. We're working to retire. That's the whole point. So we're effectively just working to buy back our time. That's all we're really doing. And knowing what I know now about money, I should have invested from day one because I've been single my entire life. I've never had somebody else to support. And my living expenses and stuff like that have always been very, very minor. So the amount of money I could have put into a 401k or into investments and stocks and stuff like that, or even real estate,
Mm.
is insane. Like I could have invested all my money, my entire life savings, into investment accounts, and I would be so much better off than I am today. And an argument can be said that, you know, I'm here, I'm retired from the workforce, I retired at 39, everything I own is paid for,
Mm.
I own 2 homes, this is my vacation house here, I rent this out, Airbnb on the side, which I'm going to get into this in a second because this is an investment property I bought after I retired. After I don't have an income anymore, I bought this thing. So don't get me wrong, I put myself in a very good position having not invested. But I just think about how much further along I probably could have been. And the fact that I probably could have retired actually way earlier than I did if I would have invested because I would have had a lot more money. And it wasn't until just the last few years I
The thing too about investment that I don't think a lot of people realize is that, or not investment, about retirement, is that retirement is just an equation. Retirement means you have enough passive income coming in to where it covers not only your basic needs, but even most of your wants. So let's just say right now, like if I had $10,000 coming in passively, let's say I wrote a book and it makes me $10,000 a month with sponsorships, whatever, I could essentially retire because my living expenses are never going to exceed $10,000. They just aren't. Unless I do something stupid, then I have to work again, make money, and that's what ends up happening. That's called life creep, right? But that's all retirement is. Retirement is passive income minus living expenses minus wants. And if that is a positive to where you can live off of, then you can retire. The reason why it's called retirement is because that's when you get that passive income. You said he retired at 39, so he's probably military. Um, People that retire before they're 40, typically military, some type of DOD or service type of job, something in that realm. Typically, because I know the typical retirement age is what, like 65 or like 62 before you can get Social Security. So if you retire at 40, let's say you have these investment properties, you have passive income coming in for the next 20 years before you can even um, get a Social Security. But let's say you get that too. And then let's say if he was military, let's say he gets out with VA, well, man, he's got VA, he's got disability, then he's gonna get Social Security. Let's say he gets he has investment properties, he's getting money from that. That's four streams of income right there at 40. You're doing good. You're doing good. So yeah, that's all retirement is though. People need to understand that you can retire essentially at 20 if your expenses don't eclipse your or if your expenses don't eclipse your income, your passive income. It has to be passive though, because if you're working for it, you're not retired, you're working. Right. But you can technically be retired and work because it's something that you want to do, not something that you have to do. A lot of people have to work to pay their bills. They have to do this, they have to do that. But if you're doing what you want to do, and you know if you stop doing it, you're still going to eat, your life isn't going to change, then you can essentially retire. But people need to understand that retirement is just an equation.
Started looking at investing, and I started throwing money into like Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff like that.
Mm,
Different, different types of cryptocurrency. And I'm telling you right now, I put money into crypto the year before it went on that massive bull run, like before 2020. I didn't put a lot of money in there because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I just heard, hey, you need to put money in Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff like that. So I did. And I just kind of threw some money in there and I didn't really think about it. And then the bull run happened and I went back in there and I looked at the money I gained and the spike that it went up to. And then it did come back down some, but I was like, if I would have put 3/4 of my life savings in that account when that bull run happened, I would have had generational wealth.
mm,
Like I would never have to worry about money. If I had a family, they would never have to worry about money. Their family would probably never have to worry about money. That's how much money I would have made during that bull run. And another big one was the stock market, which I never invested into. I mean, I had 401ks and stuff throughout my entire career, which were very good. They were matched asset plans where the company would match you up to a certain percentage. They had, contributions that they would put in based off how much money you put in. And it would have been a really smart move to take advantage of that, but I never did. So, the last few years I started playing with the stock market and I invested into certain stocks like Nvidia and I can't remember. There's a few different ones, but those are also some of the ones that shot way up. And again, I didn't put a lot of money in there, but I could have made a ton more money. And another big one is real estate. And that's what I invested into now. Now that I've retired, I'm dipping my toes into real estate
mm.
and I'm realizing how much money is in real estate. I
A lot of
retired
money in real
in
estate.
January of 2024. I bought this in July. All right. And I paid cash for it because now that I'm debt free, I've made a pact with myself that I'm not willing to go into debt again for any reason. If I can't pay cash for it, I don't need it. And I pretty much have everything in life that I want anyway. So I really don't need to spend that kind of money on something where I would need to pull out a loan. So I bought this lake house and I figured this would be a good way to dip my toes into the real estate market because lake homes specifically, they appreciate exponentially higher than the rest of the market. And that has been pretty true for the area I invested in because the homes around here have quadrupled and in some cases even beyond that. I mean, they're very, very expensive compared to what they were just 10 years ago. So I know the value of this home is only going to go up. And I will say 100%, this is probably one of the best decisions that I've ever made financially, investing in this property.
Yeah. Oh,
What's happening with
Like I mentioned, I bought it.
yeah. Not to mention as well, dude has a YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? So he's getting retirement. He's getting VA probably if he's military. I don't know. The real estate, the YouTube channel. In 20 years, he can get Social Security. So that's 5 sources, and then Bitcoin. That's 6 sources right there. Women kept me broke for a very long time because even if you're smashing a bunch of them, feels good for your ego. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, man, I got to crack this baddie. She is da da da. Cool, but at the end of it, you have a story to tell, and you're down $30 because you went on a date with some chick who's giving up the cheeks relatively easy. You know what I'm saying? And I had to learn, like, bruh, it's not worth it at the end of the day. I can tell you right now, I'm still pretty young. I'm younger than this guy here. I'm about 11 years younger than this guy. He's 40. And I can tell you right now, there's times where I'm like, bruh, I definitely shouldn't have been messing with that chick. I had no business messing with that chick. She kept me broke and blah, blah, blah. But, I'm not the type of man that's going to say I don't want a family. But I understand if you don't have a family and you're purpose driven, you have to put that time, energy, and resources in something else. And if that's something else, I'm not, man, my nose is like messing with me, dude. I don't know what's going on. Got a booger. My nose is big too, so my boogers are like green apples. But yeah, if you don't have a family, you have to have other things to aim at. There's actually a book by this guy named Aaron Clary, and he talks about this. It's called The Menu. And he says, well, if you're not going to have a family, here's other things that you should do instead. And investing and having money is a big part of that. So Yeah, I'm not saying every man should have a family. If you're the kind of guy you're like, look, man, I'm not doing the whole family thing. I don't want to. It's beyond me. Cool. Invest, learn money, learn about yourself, travel, get your passport, do these things. You can definitely do these things with a family. That's what I plan on doing later in life. But as I kind of sit back and I look at the world around me, and I'm like, man, this isn't how it like. The, we're in a completely unprecedented time today, you know, where men have to pay so much, not only with actual money, but time and energy as well, for a woman who really ain't what her mom was, or really ain't what her grandmother used to be. And that same woman expects to be treated like her mom or her grandma. And it's an unprecedented time because we're living in a time now where a man is demonized if he doesn't want to do that for this woman. To say, like, look, you're a jump off. If the only thing you bring to the table is box, why are you mad if that's the only thing I'm interested in? Your whole Instagram feed is your butt. You know what I'm saying? But yet you want to be treated like a lady. It's like, how can you be treated like something you're not? How can you be treated like royalty and you play in the trash? You know, I have to treat you how you act. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but this is a good depiction. Men, if you don't want to have a family, you need something else to aim at. Learn about yourself, learn about money. And even if you do want to have a family, you should learn about these things because you're going to be the person that's responsible for providing for that family. You don't get to really go, I don't know, dear, you figure it out. She's going to come to you and look to you for answers. And the minute that she doesn't, that's when your relationship is in trouble. So you got to kind of realize that. You have to understand that moving forward. But that's all I got for this video, guys. If there's another video that you would like to see me react to, please drop it down in the comment section below. And if you do and I react to it, I'll be putting your name right here. Also, don't forget the best way to help out the channel is to like, comment, and subscribe, and to watch another one of the videos that you see popping up on the screen right now. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.